today we'll be serving some tissues just in case you start crying, because we'll be having a very intricate conversation about how to move on after heartbreak. So I know after pale Christmas pale, tukiingia New Year, there's so many heartbreaks. And then Eve, Valentine's, there are actually so many heartbreaks. You know, unapata hiyo text, that risky text, a very long paragraph, unaambiwa, it's not you, it's me, don't worry, it's me. So right now, it's March, the 23rd day of March, and you're wondering, niliachwa 13th day of February, how do I move on? And I have the best of minds, the very, very, very best of minds. Beatrice Otare.
Yeah.
I think you'll introduce yourself fully, and Jude Shege.
Yes.
I think I can start with you. I've always since I've known you, mimi kuita Watash, so you can introduce yourself fully.
Yeah, Watash is fine. My name is Beatrice Watare, of course. I think many people have known me in the journalism, industry for a very long time now. But aside from that, for a long time now, I've been in the, I would say I've been passionate about relationships and just advising people and doing all sorts of advice since I was 19 years. But right now, a whole new perspective has been given to me, where now, aside from just being
19 years giving relationship advice.
I know the irony. I know. Yeah. People used to ask me, what do you know? But funny thing, the hashtag was Ask Watare, and people would just ask me anything, and I will always have answers.
So a whole 35-year-old guys asking for advice.
Even my mom at some point told me I have to ask Watare. I think God has just given me this intricate wisdom. So
amen to that. Hey, I feel like today there's going to be a lot of this. Oh Jesus. Oh yes.
Yeah, and I'm also born again. I love telling people about the goodness of God. I mean, that's something I cannot stop. So I'm sure most of our conversations will delve towards that direction, because one thing I believe is that, the whole idea of relationships, it's the closest we can get to heaven. So, yeah.
Unafahamu msikia kiongea Kiswahili. Shege.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm very fine.
Mvua, I hope haijakupata pabaya.
Imenipata lakini si hivyo sana. Yes, but I thank God at least I have made it. My name is Jude Chege again. I am born again Christian. I love God with all my heart. I'm happy because of the conversation of how long does it take to move on, because I think these are things we as the youth, we are also struggling with. When it comes to, you don't know how fast you have to move to the next relationship. So I think with such a platform, we can be able to educate a lot of people. Okay. Yes.
Let's just start right there. I think I can start with you, Atash. Heartbreaks.
Yeah.
How many so far, maybe?
Where?
Because I'm pretty sure people are looking at it and they're like, yani kuna mtu alipea hii smile yote mzuri hivi alikupatia heartbreak.
Oh my goodness. That's such a question, but I would say it's countless. It's actually countless. But the thing that I would love to really bring out is that before, I used to look at it as the heartbreak and the mentality of, oh my God, what happened? And I would be sad and I would be broken. But as I've grown, I would say I've matured. And from experience, I don't even see them as heartbreaks anymore. So I think it's just a matter of me getting this experience. Experience is the best teacher. So I would say, to the point that I am right now, I no longer view them as heartbreaks, but rather I just view it as a transition to something better. So, yeah.
I feel like English has a way of playing with words very well. A transition. Miss pity heartbreak, but
I'm just in a transition.
I'm just in a transition
to something better.
From girl.
It's glory to glory. So,
if you're dating Gloria and you move to another Gloria, it's glory to glory.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
He has
how many heartbreaks so far?
I know they are watching. You guys mulikuwa
ongeza volume hata.
You guys mulikuwa wengi, but I feel also when we count heartbreaks, most of the people normally count from the time they started, like ile ujinga dating. You know, the one that is ile I like you like me, and then the heartbreak happens. But I feel, if that question is mine, I think one heartbreak and was enough for that journey. Yes, so I think one for me.
Because they say kuna kugato na ile moja. There's always that one heartbreak that shapes your transition, as she puts it. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts of you know, the whole process of moving on after heartbreak. So it's the 13th day of February 2023. Pale Watara, I'm just using an example.
Feel free. Feel free.
You know, has received that, you know, very long paragraph, and you're really expecting a whole surprise on the Valentine's, but then sadly no. So how do you, the do's and don'ts of after that, what will you be doing? Because, you know, most people start the whole, no, I have to fix this, a whole reconciliation, let's meet and talk and all that. What do you think of the do's and don'ts?
Yeah, personally, I think the number one do is please put your phone away. Because most of the time when you're faced with that situation, the first instinct is to be defensive. It's to kujitetea, to apologize, to do this and to do that. And we always have all these excuses why no, this can't be, it has to work out. And I think the best illustration to actually put it would be, you see, there's this story in the Bible that talks about this man who was ill for 38 years. And there was a pool where the angel of the Lord will come there and the water would bubble and then someone will jump in and get healed. But Jesus saw this man sitting down there. He was ill for 38 years. Akamuuliza swali moja, do you want to get well? Immediately, the guy began giving excuses. Every time I'm trying to get in, you know, someone gets in before me. So when you look at it, I try to look at the whole situation as a question of, do you want to get well? Because most of the time when you get that message, your first instinct is, lazima nijitetee, I have to do something, I have to do something. But what God is trying to tell you is stand up, walk and go, carry your bed and go.
Stand up, leave your phone, go away.
Exactly. So when you look at it, it's a question of, do you really want to get well? Do you want to wallow in self-pity? Do you want to try and make this worse than it already is? Or do you want to actually move on and say, you know what? You'd rather say, actually, when I got that call, for me, it was a call.
Oh, okay.
I didn't, it was just before Christmas, like on 24th. And you know, when I got that call, you know, you want to ask why, but I was like, it's okay. You know, I told God, kama si wewe akutoe tu, so we cool. I wish you all the best.
Hold up. So after the call, hello, Ochare.
Yeah.
It's me, blah, 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 you know, and all that. Then you put phone down. Your message here, Safaricom, you know, pops up. You've spent this amount of hours talking. I don't know how many minutes did you talk?
I would say it was about like 5-6 minutes.
6 minutes.
About 6 minutes.
Were there tissues there?
No, in fact, I did not even cry. I was like, because the funny thing is that the previous week or so, I was sitting down and I was, you know, sometimes when the breakup is almost on its way, like you always know.
The signs.
Yes,
They are the signs. And for me, when I see the signs, there is a way I've developed to detach emotionally. And immediately I just started telling God, God, kama si huyu mtoe. Because I don't see myself moving into this relationship, moving into a whole other year, and yet I'm feeling this way. I can feel a feeling that this relationship is already over. And on that day, even before this person called me, I had written an episode that I would do about when the relationship ended. It's like I knew deep down in my spirit. So when I get this call, I'm like, hey God, manze, like, okay, nilikuambia mtoe, kwani ilikuwa ikuwe mbio hivi. Like, it was that, but so I was like, it's okay.
So heartbreak nilo nasemanga ni God manze.
Yeah. it's ni God manze.
I mean, you know, she speaks about put the phone away and all that. But then, you know, I'd say I'd want closure because maybe I didn't see these signs coming. You know, we were having fun and all that. Even yesterday, we went to, you know, some outing somewhere. I took you out on a date, you know, and all that. It was all good, but then tomorrow you're telling me, God ameamua, hatuwezi kuwa pamoja manze, ni God ameamua si mimi. So you know, you'd want closure.
Yes.
I mean, how do you go about this?
I'm even surprised maybe to add about Watari that she knew that she's going to be left. So for her, I think it was so easy maybe to transition, as the way she's saying, to the next person where she'll be alone and all that stuff. But speaking on a point of you were not prepared and you didn't even have an idea or even a clue that you're going to be left, I feel that the do's is, first of all, you see like a business, the same way a business might close. You have to sit and rethink and maybe una strategize tena about how did it go wrong? Where did I go wrong? So that even if you're going to enter into another relationship, at least you'll have something that you've learned from the previous one. So the do's is that you shouldn't even rush to move on. About the closure, again, the question you've asked, I also feel it also relates. Like if we are talking about me and Watari, perhaps maybe Watari isn't in the mood of, you know, closing. Anabambika juu ameniacha, like why si hata ni ameenda. So mimi ndio nibabaki with the burden of I don't know where to look. I'm trying to even reach out to her so that we have a closure, but still it's not working. So about the closure, it all depends if both of you kwanza kama mliachana kwa uzuri, because inaweza kuwa
ile mutually mkakaa chini mkasema yes. But then is it always mutual? Because I mean okay, mnaweza kuwa pale mseme but yeah, it's mutual, lakini deep down maybe one party is like hapana.
I think the one that I know it can be
I'm really in love with this person.
Yes, I think the one which can be really mutual is I think distance. We say Watari is traveling to abroad and I'm being left here. So we sit down and then we rethink about this thing. We say probably Watari, you need to, you know, to move on with the life where you're going, and I also need to move on because I can't be stagnant and all that stuff. So I think we can reach a point we say, you know what, Watari, I've released you again in the name of Jesus. Nimekuachilia tu. Ni God. So I think there's a place where we can meet at a point.
Okay.
And I think another don't, maybe I can add, is don't blame yourself. Because most of the time, there's always this instinct that, especially for ladies, the moment maybe it's the man who said those words, you start looking for all the reasons why it was your fault. You blame yourself. You begin to ask yourself, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? I can tell you, even if you made a mistake and it led to the heartbreak, you can actually forgive yourself and move from it. But the moment you begin to blame yourself, actually for me, I try to, at that moment, try and look at all the reasons why this wasn't even the best relationship ever. Like, try and think about those things, and trust me, the list will be endless. Because most of the time when you love someone, you tend to cover on a lot of things. You ignore a lot of things. But at the point of a breakup, I mean, that's a good opportunity for you to begin listing down all the negative things that you saw, and that will remind you that, you know what, maybe this was for the best.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you speak like a whole, you know, true minister of God. You know, should I start deleting her number then after the whole heartbreak? You know, start deleting her number, our texts, you know, all the social media, start unfollowing her. What should I be doing that?
Honestly, I don't know if I could be biased with my opinion, but what I feel is the best thing. You know, most of the time, for even women who sometimes leo uko sawa, kesho hauko sawa, and then something blows up and you feel like sending a whole text and you just feel worse after that. For people who know very well they cannot control themselves and they cannot control the urge to type down some things and just, you know, write a lot of paragraphs, I think it is best that you delete everything. In fact, you delete and even block so that the person won't even have access to text you or to disturb you. Because even me, after the relationship ended, after some time, I would find that this guy was still texting the hey in the middle of the night, like, hey,
hey.
Like,
you up?
Okay, wow. And for some women, they'd be like, kinda. And then it's a whole conversation. I mean, I try to look at it as, you see, when the Israelites left Egypt and God took them out of slavery, the moment the problems began to occur when they were in the wilderness, they began telling Moses, ata ungetuacha uko Egypt, at least uko tulikuwa tunakula nyama, tulikuwa tunafanya, we were eating fish, we were eating well. And God is like, you are slaves. that's the same thing that I can even apply to relationships. Like, you have to remember every reason why, and if someone wants to let you go, this is like so cliche, but you have to let them go, because sometimes we confuse something that's supposed to be seasonal with lifetime expectations. So it's for you to make sure that you delete that contact, just remove anything that might make you go back and begin to text, because the little dignity ulikuwa umebakisha, now it will be wiped out. Okay. When you still leave the contact there, and you know you can't control yourself, na utajikuta una text, and you know, trying to get back, trying to understand a lot of things. Yeah.
The sound my sound person says, Kulo says that mapenzi itambui dignity. For dignity. For example, we used to go to a favorite joint, let's say a hotel, and each and every single time we would go there, then we break up. So do you tell me that I shouldn't ever go there?
Maybe even to start from maybe where Watari was talking about the number. Naturally, we find we do not delete the numbers, because nataka kujua dem venye anaendelea, especially if you're the one who was left. You normally don't delete the number. You stay with it for some time. But as you're giving yourself closure, because it's a personal thing now, I think it is easy enough for you to delete. But uwezi acho sahi alafu delete number at the same time. I think it normally takes a period of time. Again to your question about if the places. Now the problem comes in if I had another lady, and now I'm dating Watari. You know, if I'm insisting so much that, you know what, nataka tuende place flani, I used to go there, she'll be eager to know who was I going there with. And the moment I raise up hapa ni place tulikuwa tuna spend na ex wangu, it becomes now a problem to her, and then it becomes a problem to the relationship. Now it starts to be a discussion of hata mimi sitaki kwenda place yenye yeye ameipelekwa na chali yake, so we either pick new places so that we move on, but it is not advisable.
I feel like that's mostly for women. I don't know for us men. If you tell me you used to go there, I don't know for and I wouldn't mind. But then why Bona? Because I do have my own share of stories. I tell her we used to go this place, with her. And then ako hapo msichana amekasirika yake yote, ameanza kuwa dramatic. Oh hapana, oh why this place?
Oh my God. I think it also comes from a place of how healed are you? Because you see, most of the time, you know, I used to look at relationships in that time when I was young, you know, when I was starting off, and people would ask, kwani niko na miaka ngapi? Well, I began this journey a long time ago.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey. You know, someone told me like I'm 25 with the experience of a 38-year-old. So yeah, I do understand how that feels. But you see, for me, okay, I'll use one of the things that are still in my house that my ex aliacha. So, you see, after the breakup happened, there's that sense of, I'm okay, I'm good. I mean, this was just God making sure that this happened. Na kulikuwa na viatu zake zenye zilikuwa hapo. So there were these like shoes that someone can just wear, they're like just open shoes. And you see, I had the option of actually throwing them, because if I see them, they remind me of him, or even the toothbrush. I'm like, if I see it, it's going to remind, there's always that kind of mentality. But then, mimi niliziacha hapo, because the lady who comes to clean my house, hakuna slippers zangu zinamtoshea. So now she usually wears them because they fit her very well. And I'm like, I was to throw them, but I won't. And even the places that I've gone with, the people I've dated, I will not stop going there simply because sijui tulikuwa tunakujanga hapa. In fact, I don't even mention that I used to be there because of them.
For example, before I come to you, for example, you had, he left a hoodie there, and your new guy comes, alafu anza kuiva. Will you ever mention?
Well, okay, that's when it comes to hoodies, it's tricky. But okay, one thing I can tell you, when it comes to clothes, na vitu kama hizo, there's a certain show I love watching called The Neighborhood, and there was this guy who was arguing with the girlfriend because he saw a very big shirt, and I was like, no, this can't be mine, it's probably the ex-boyfriend's. And then we have this guy called Dave, who also the girlfriend, the wife actually, amekuwa akiva a certain jersey, na hiyo jersey ilikuwa ya ex-boyfriend yake. So this guy, huyu Dave, sasa mwenye bibi yake anaivaanga, this other guy anakuja namwambia, I saw this shirt and it's big, it's obviously not mine, probably near ex my girlfriend nini, and they're almost getting married.
Okay.
So now Dave is like, no, it's just a cloth, don't put so much sense into it, don't think about it. But when alikuja ku find out that the shirt the wife anavanga ilikuwa ya ex, akakuwa like, no, I don't think I'm okay with this.
Okay.
So there's also that. But I think from a point of respect, I would feel like something like clothes or even like nguo, hoodie kwanza, it's good to just get rid of it, because sometimes when you have it there and then your boyfriend or even the person you're dating is feeling like you still have it, even you wear it when you go to sleep, like obviously atakuwa like, now you're making me think of the guy before me. So I think sometimes for the sake of respect and for the sake of peace, it's good to just get rid of the things that may actually spark a conversation headed in the direction of the exes.
When it comes to, you know, a heartbreak, people, you know, start confusing. If, for example, I dated, quote unquote, or rather, let's even remove the word dated. I was with someone for like a month, or maybe 3 weeks. Then we split ways. Is that dating? After that, kuna heartbreak hapo kweli? Because, you know, people hapa nje in the Nairobi life, people will call that, quote unquote, you know, prostitution and all that, you know, quote unquote. You know, the whole, you know, sort of just, you know, making out and all that, alafu mna split. Mtu draw line wapi when it comes to actually a whole heartbreak?
I'd say it all depends with the investment you've made in that relationship, because though ya 2 weeks hiyo ni mchezo, ya 2 weeks ni mchezo, ya 3 weeks pia ni mchezo. I think when we talk of a month,
ni time limit gani inachanga kwa mchezo?
No, investment. Not time limit, because you see, ya 2 weeks, you see, maybe for an example, I started dating Watari and I had another relationship, and apparently
this is the second time you've mentioned that.
Actually,
just to keep track.
The fourth time, for example, dating Watari, and apparently the relationship that I was in previously, haikuwa hivyo, you know, pleasing, and maybe I've learned I wouldn't want to lose now another person. Now you see, within the 2 weeks, I want to invest more. So if I was to buy her flowers maybe on February and we're in January, within the first week, I'm already delivering flowers. So basically, I'm investing because I wouldn't want to lose her. But still, the investment that I've made is supposed now, I think, you know, it determines that the heartbreak, the how long your heartbreak itakuwa.
Investment, inakuga investment mostly a pesa ama ni time.
Not necessarily, even emotions. Because you imagine, kila mtu maybe ananitaka huku nje, but akili yangu yote iko kwa Hatari. Hiyo ni mara ya 5 nataja Hatari. So, I personally feel the type of investment you make is what determines the heartbreak thingy.
Okay.
Let me shock you. You know, you are talking of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I was in a 1 week relationship.
Bado kali after heartbreak.
I know. I mean, you know what happened actually? You know, the moment I rededicated my life to Christ, and after everything that happened, you know, there's this mentality you step into, you know, you're in church and you're like, I'm probably going to meet the next boyfriend, which this relationship is obviously going to lead to marriage, because come on, I'm with God and, you know, I'm in church and the person is in church. So I actually got into a relationship, and this person was like, you know, I've been checking you out, and, you know, I feel like God is leading me to us dating, and I'm in love with you, and I want to...
You met in church?
Yeah, we met in church, actually, part of the worship team, and, you know, me, I was just in the congregation. So that
luckily, you're a man of God.
Very a worshiper. Leave alone a man of God, a worshiper.
I saw the
Hope Zico.
But you see, I got into this relationship, and, you know, obviously right now, you know, most of the time, you see fish when ukiitoa kwa maji, it cannot survive. So when we understand that God is the one who put the breath in us, it's to understand that we cannot really do anything without his involvement. The moment we put him away, we are just headed for destruction. So you see, when I got into this relationship, I knew that obviously this is a man of God. This is someone we're in the church. So the question of having sex before marriage should be an obvious thing, that we cannot do it until the point of marriage. So we get into this relationship and I'm like so happy. You know, it's Congolese, so I know I'm going to be knowing some French. You know,
hold up, Congolese.
Congolese. So like I was living the dream. And in that 1 week, when you talk about investment, I'd invested my emotions. Like I knew this is going to work out. Like I could see myself, and the dad is a pastor, so I could see myself.
But then, people would argue, kuna mahitaji ya mwili, na kuna ile yenye kanisa inasema. Una draw line wapi?
Actually, there's no even need of drawing the line, because you see, previously, before, you know, I was always born again, but now when it comes to rededicating your life to Christ and deciding that everything that God has said, because this is where we bring the issue of lukewarmness, where you want to be a Christian who is following certain rules, but not others. You want to draw the line where the flesh desires, and that's where you want to draw the line. But now it became a question of, you are denying me, and I'm going to respect you because you are denying me, and not a question of God is actually the one denying us. And it was like, oh my goodness, like I thought this was obvious. We are in church. Like I thought this was obvious that we would just stick to this one thing. But funny thing, God was sort of pushing me to read the Samaritan story so much. And you see, the thing that makes me realize that Jesus is as concerned as in our relationships as anything else, he tells her that, you know, you have married 5 husbands, and even the man you're living with is not your husband. Because in that moment, you see, as women, we are always looking to fill a void. Even for men, you're looking to fill a void. You want to feel loved. In fact, you're asking in a human being what God can give you, what God is actually going to give you unconditionally. So what I realized with this relationship ending in this period of 1 week, because we just disagreed on so many issues, and I like,
the Congolese was 1 week.
That's the 1 week relationship I'm talking about. But I realized in that period of 1 week, you have invested everything, but then anakuambia ile question ya, no, you don't love me, no wonder you're denying me this, you don't love me, no wonder you're doing this. So when you look at it, it's an issue of how I was able to now move on from it was so easy, because I was like, you know what? It was God first, then you. If people can only put God first, and then the other person, that can help.
Hold that thought there. A lot of questions in my mind there. Investing in a relationship in 1 week with a Congolese guy, I'm quite interested about that story. Maybe after off air we'll discuss that. Let's take a short break. Keep talking to us. Keep those particular questions and feedback coming through at TV47 KE on Facebook. We'll be taking a look at them. Stick around.
Watching TV47, the home of untold stories. To the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center, the premier events venue. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed to meet all your needs, from large-scale conferences to intimate meetings and everything in between. Located in the heart of Thika, the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center offers stunning views of the city skyline and is easily accessible from all major transportation hubs. Our facility features ample parking, free Wi-Fi, advanced audiovisual equipment, and our technical team is always on hand to ensure your event runs smoothly and seamlessly. Don't take our word for it. Make your next event unforgettable at the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center. Contact us today for bookings and reservations. Email multimedia@mku.ac.ke or call us on 0708 212204.
Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni sana. This is Dr. Frank tonight. And of course, on to our first guest of the night. An amazing actress, an award-winning actress, one of the top influencers right now, a top brand ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, and a lady who I respected, of course. I'm proud to call her my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, just listening. Are you ready for something there?
Yes.
You ready, yeah?
Yes.
Give me something, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Kate Kamau, a.k.a. Kate, actress. How much material
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I'm a lot.
Does it give like, is it like normal time to wear like 10 minutes?
Asha.
Ama like lazima uipangie.
Hii lazima shida ni kwenda kwa choo hiyo tu. Yeah.
But they come to think of it, madam you and madam of a jumpsuit. How do you guys go to the washroom? How do you guys deal with that?
That's
whole
why
thing?
we go in pairs to the bathroom.
No, men, you'll never find men going to the washroom in pairs. Anyway, Richie. Richie niaje. Nasikia kusojo, hebu tuishie. I think ladies are so privileged. You guys can even call each other boo, babe, sweetheart. Imagine now I'm now calling Richie. Richie babe, niaje. Unakamjobosa ngapi na saxophone?
But we are okay with that.
Never.
Yeah.
Kate, welcome on the show. You are our first guest ever. Piga makofi. Ndio nimetu mpya tuko na interior design round hii.
Hii ni Wajakoya ama?
Check, relax. Usiseme na nguvu, Nakada wana watch, nakada.
Ni sponsors.
Let me ask, have you ever tried?
No, what is that? No.
Haujawahi? Under by mistake.
But now I know it because of Wajakoya.
Oh, really? So hujaipita kwa campaign ya Wajakoya by mistake ukaisikia? Have you ever tried drugs at any point?
Which one?
You're a clean,
I'm a
good
role
girl.
model.
Role model. Sawa kwa Listen, do we have enough role models in the industry anymore? Or because I've seen these days people do their own things. They mess up.
Imagining maybe before that someone had like a whole 3 years relationship. Let's say you invest everything. Maybe you had a business. Maybe at both of you even met the families of both of you. Alafu sasa unaingia in another relationship. Like the 3 years, it ended badly, quote unquote. Then now your whole trust, kwanza kutrust, getting into a new one. Do most times, people get into a new relationship tayari wakijua venye, how the breakup process tayari itakuwa even before the relationship begins. I think I can start with you, Shage.
If people get into relationship knowing that kuna mali itaishi, like already
I mean this maybe today is on Thursday, so I've been seeing this lady for like let's say a month now. Then I called her for a date somewhere fancy Nairobi. Then I tell her let's make this official. But then I'm from a 3 years relationship, and I'm still skeptical about relationships and all that. So right now in my head I'm nishaanza kufikiria how ikitu I've been in a 3 years nikaisha na sasa hii.
I think if you're in that position, you haven't healed completely. Because if you've healed, then you shouldn't even think about the disadvantages. Because these are things you are supposed to be thinking, in fact, about the relationship. But you see, when you're thinking about the disadvantages, especially from the position you're sitting, I feel you're thinking of the disadvantages of the things that used to happen from the other relationship. So that you transition well, I feel you should have already healed completely. So that
healing process is taking you how long?
I think it all depends with the type of investment, and also how big is your heart. Because you see, there are people who normally forgive haraka if, again, you are with Watare, tuachane.
Do you forgive? Kumuulizia.
Yes.
You'll find you'll find that it is easier also. Like sasa we will be talking and even chatting. Yes, we are exes, but we are still in communication, because at the end of the day, I've healed, she has healed. In fact, I'm even going to the extent of how is your new relationship, and she's also going to the extent of how is my new relationship. I think that is the level of healing maybe we should even be talking about.
Okay. And it all depends with, it's the question of, do you want to get well? Like, it's the question of just having that mentality. Do I want it? Because most of the time we self-sabotage our own selves. And in fact, what you've mentioned is so good, because I found myself, mtu asipokutext maybe the whole day, you're already thinking of these negative things because of the experiences you've had in the past. But what I can tell you is that when you get into a new relationship and you still are being haunted by your past trauma, the things of the past, there's no way you'll be able to invest fully into this relationship, because you'll be like, no, but I want to give my heart, but just a piece of it, because I'm scared of how. But actually that could be the relationship that actually lasts or even goes for a long time. So what he has said about healing is really important, and how soon you're able to heal is how much, first of all, you remove the connection. If you know it's difficult for you to heal, if you have to delete the number, if you have to unfollow, if you have to do anything for you to heal, just do it and begin to move in that process. Do everything else. You see some ladies, they level up, they start going to the gym, skincare routines, going to church. Like, I recommend anything that is going to work for you, but do not put yourself in a position whereby you're slowing down your healing process, because people actually slow down their own healing process.
I remember after my heartbreak, I started going to the gym seriously. Does it make sense, umetoka in a relationship, let's say in February, then you're in a new one in March? Does it make sense? A whole area, and it raises again issue maybe heartbreak at ni mentality too. It doesn't even exist. Ni mentality too. Shege.
Yeah, you're serious. You always go umetoka relationship, I think February, then you join another in March. I feel you should give yourself. See the way, as much as we are working and other stuff, you need some time for vacation. Hakunanga mtu anajipea vacation ya siku mbili. This vacation kitu tunachapata mwezi or 1 week. So I feel the same thing if we apply it in the basis of relationship. You have to take some time out. You restructure, you strategize again, and then ujue sasa you're going for another different species. So the one you had, you have to forget. Then you have to think of, what do I want next? Because also the talk of what do I want next. If maybe I had someone who was not godly, and then in my mind or maybe in my heart I've sat down after I've taken my time out, I've thought about the various relationships I've been in, and then I say, you know what, it is time. I want a godly woman. Watari.
Amen to that. Somebody say amen.
And I love what you said about restrategizing, because even for me, you see one thing.
So far I've had restrategizing and
transitioning, yeah.
A transitional restrategizing.
Exactly. That's so beautifully put. You know, one thing I came to understand is that, you see, the time that you're taking will be enough time for you to heal, will be enough time for you to really think about what you really want. What are some of the gaps that this person had that you need to make sure that you're filling? Because sometimes when you're just looking for a void, ati huyu wako ananipikianga, so I'm looking for mwenye atanipikia. Trust me, you'll fill that void, and then now you'll be introduced to another. You'll be introduced to another blank space. So in that, taking your time and making sure that you completely heal will also remove the idea of you getting into a relationship and already thinking that this is going to end because of the other one that ended. You taking the time to heal, building yourself. Sometimes there's a thing you told me, and I remember it to date. When I explained that my relationship was over, there's a time you said, focus on yourself, Watar. You said that.
You remember that?
I remember.
I'm a very good advisor.
Yeah, it was so brief.
Counseling psychology.
It was so brief, but it stuck in my head. Focus on yourself.
It is a many heartbreaks that led me to give you that advice.
Yeah, and he also said that when I was still in the relationship, Stanley would ask me, like, is it better when you are single, when you're just feeling okay, you're free, or when you're in a relationship? And I was like, when I'm in a relationship, but I didn't.
As you continue, napata a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So what is that you're working on yourself? Nini una build on yourself?
Right now, it's mainly my relationship with God. Right now, it's just getting that relationship with Jesus so tight that nothing is going to break it. Because when I mentioned the Samaritan woman, it was because, in chapter 4, verse 14, it talks about the water that I give you. If I give you this water and you take it, you will never be thirsty again. Most of the time, we are just thirsty. We're just thirsty for affection. We are thirsty for this. And yet, when you actually find that peace in God, when you find that peace of mind in Jesus,
you focus on yourself.
You're focusing on yourself, and at the same time focusing on your relationship with God, and that makes sure that even after the heartbreak, it becomes so easy for you to move on, because I'm like, you know what? If this is not what God intended for me, why do I have to fight for it? And you're coming into this relationship with yourself already whole. You're whole because Jesus is the one who gives me joy. He's the one who gives me strength. He's the one who gives me everything I need. So I'm not going to be looking for it anywhere else apart from myself and God.
And also maybe to add, so that we finish that point, the break that you're taking is not to heal from the other person, is also to heal for, because we are not holier than thou. There are things maybe used to offend the other party, and probably they aired those things out. So I think even that break, so that you take a good break, you're taking a break because of them, and also for yourself. So for the things you feel you need to change, kuna zingine za kuwekelewa. For the things you need to change them personally, now without anyone, and then of course moving away from the previous relationship.
In Nairobi, there's a term that we use very oftenly. Unaoga, unarudi wapi?
Soko.
But kuna ingine soko ni chafu.
Sasa
Takuchafua tena.
Sasa hiyo ni ile unasema unavaa gumboots ukifika soko. Lakini sasa ukioga urudi soko. Okay, it's one's decision kuona ni pande gani ya soko ataenda. Kama ni kwa nyanya, kama ni kwa avocado, ama ni kwa apples. But then, you know, for apples, people wanapitianga kwa apples and they're like, hey, these are very expensive, anapita. Avocado anafinya. So it depends on who is, which part of the market you're in. But then, people have that, it's like people are immune to heartbreak squeezy. Unapata heartbreak on, okay. Unarudi soko haraka very fast. Do you think that's healthy?
No, it counts for a lot of soul ties, of which people don't really talk about them, because soul tie doesn't begin when you sleep with a person. The moment this is a relationship you're going to do, and of course you involved God, I feel the soul tie starts from there. Now when you're sleeping with someone else, I think that's happened in enda to the higher level. So with you're being left, or you're leaving and then you're joining another relationship, I normally count it as a, I think, as nika a minus. You're doing a minus all through, because now you're creating a road or even a bridge of so many people. By the time you're talking about breaking the soul ties and other stuff, nishapatana na Watari is currently praying for someone who God amemletea.
Nilisahau kucount hiyo.
7.
Okay.
Watari is counting. Yeah, so I wouldn't advise that the moment you've left a relationship, or maybe you've been left, that you rush into now inakuwa a habit. I wouldn't advise that.
Okay. Let's talk about family matters. You had maybe, sijui kama hiyo 1 week kama mliweza kupatana na familia. 1 week is very short really.
Alienda Kongo na akarudi.
It was no sooner than.
But then mnaweza kuwa na like a whole maybe 2 years relationship, and you know, umepatana na baba ya Shege, umepatana na wazazi wa Watare, na mamake, you know, mamake for all those years, you know, amependa venye, you know, your fashion sense, you know, for all these years you maybe even started a whole, you know, businesses, so, and the families were tight. How do you move on? Because being in a relationship, it's not only both of you, you know, in the relationship. It's also, you know, other people who are in that relationship, quote unquote, your family members and even your friends. How do you do this? Do you sasa una cut ties na mama ya Watare, ama how does this go?
Apparently, mama ya Watare ndio cut ties na mimi. So she'll always be, oh, my son, where are you? I haven't been seeing you.
My son,
is everything okay? Watare anaulizwa, are you guys okay? Yes, we're okay, ma'am. But still the mother is still insisting to a point maybe of texting. The question of, I don't know if it is advisable to involve the families first, especially if the relationship is at, I think, 3 months to 6 months. I think and probably the ladies are more, they are quick to introduce the men to the mothers, to the fathers. Like madam do take your initiative before a guy decides to introduce you to the family. Anaanza na mabeste, this is my friend. It starts from the friendship.
Ndio mama.
Ndio mama. Before we get into sasa umeingia into my family sector, I feel hii kitu ndio imeshaisha. So the women normally rush to introduce the men, but it is not advisable for a relationship which is 6 months old or 7 months. I don't feel still umefika level ya introduce the parents in between.
Yeah.
After a whole week na Congolese, why would you feel the urge to introduce the Congolese to the family?
Well, okay, it depends with the relationship you have even with your parents. You see, me and my mom, besties. We are besties. Like, there's nothing. In fact, my mom, you know, I usually talk to her so oftenly. And in this period of 1 week, the guy was calling me, like video calling me every night, Ivo, tunaongea. So my mom literally told me, who is taking your attention from me? Like, that's how close I am with my mom. Like, she would realize there is someone. And ultimately, because you cannot lie, I just found myself telling her. But also my mom is the one who, when I tell her that this guy did this and tumeachana, like, wachana na ye, it's okay, you'll find somebody, it's okay. Like, my mom has always been a very...
My daughter, focus on yourself.
Yeah, well, she doesn't tell me that. Actually, Saizi, she tells me, like, the man God has prepared for you is on the way. And in fact, you know, I try to look at it as a rocket. You see, when a rocket is going up, I was listening to Tyler Perry yesterday, when a rocket is going up, it usually has boosters. And these boosters huwa zinaanguka at some point when the rocket is at a certain level. So sometimes we have to understand that there's some people, even as you go up, even as you proceed in life, they will have to be dropped. And they cannot literally be in the same attitude where you're being taken. So sometimes it's just a matter of understanding. If someone amekuacha, if relationship imeisha, don't confuse seasonal people with lifetime expectations. Like, you have to gauge, you have to take your time. In fact, for women who like taking the initiative, they like going forward, they like doing the things, I would say let the man do it. Like, relax, chill, be able to understand, is this man really for me or ni mchezo tu? Because you'll be able to understand when you take your time. And I think before you make that commitment, I advise people to really take the time. That's the lesson I've learned the hard way myself. Because you have to understand if maybe, does his character and mine align? Because sometimes we just look at the personality, oh, he has a good personality, but what about his character? How does he treat people? How, when you kienda kwa hoteli, anaongeaje na huyo waiter? When he talks about the family, how does he address them? Like, you have to make sure that you have a list of things. And if you're setting your bar too low, you will end up having so many rushing to it. But you have to make sure that there are some expectations that you have. And it is only by taking time that you will realize, what are these things? Is this the person for me or not? Do
you think it's advisable to cut? Maybe I had, you know, I was dating, you know, this girl. And then I also know her friend. And her friend is a very good meme lord. And I just want to say her name. So I won't want to cut her, you know, her friend. And both of us are very mutual friends. So is it advisable to even cut, you know, those links?
I think it comes from, unajua kuna wanawake wako tofauti. There's this woman who will literally blow up the moment she finds out that you guys are still friends, or you still have each other's contacts. So it's an issue of just understanding, like, you yourself, huyu mwanamke mwenye umeacha atakuwa vipi? How would they react? And if you do not want problems, if you do not want to add more issues, if you do not want to add salt to the injury, you'd rather just, you know, cut the ties for the respect of, you know, the whole situation, maybe even for the little love you had for her before. Like, it depends with the lady and how she feels about it. Because some women, they can blow up because of that.
Still more questions for you, What's the difference between personality and character?
Okay, personality is, I would say it's the very first thing. Like, when I was coming this way, someone told me, oh, you're so bubbly. You know, you're such a joyous person. So when someone sees me or how I talk right now, they are getting my personality. They see that I'm bubbly. They see that I'm active. I love to smile, blah, blah, blah. That's just my personality, what you can see. But now character cuts deeper. Character comes in with how do they act towards other people. It's when you're with them, when you have a disagreement. Trust me, Stanley, right now you look so good and you know, you're so calm. Please don't get it into your head. But mi sijui utakuaje. Okay. Sijui utakuaje kama tukikosana. I do not know how you're going to erupt. I don't know how you act towards a disagreement. So that's where now your character comes in. For me to understand, how will he act? Is he the silent killer who just goes, or does he want to actually sit down and say, you know what, let's talk about this? So
baby girl, let's talk about this.
Thank you for including the baby girl, because sometimes all women need is to be called baby girl. And in fact, if they were mad at you, they forget everything. So character cuts deeper into, you know, the relation. When you're with them more, you get to understand their character. But outwardly you can see their personality.
Because of time, Jude, very fast on this. The difference, heartbreaks, how men take heartbreaks and how women take heartbreaks. Haraka, then we wind up this conversation.
Again, still I go back to the point of who left the other. So if the lady is the one who left me, I feel it will be easier for her because she has already made the decision. Again, if I'm the one who has left the lady, it's also supposed to be easier for me because I'm the one who's made the decision. But you've asked how?
How men and women, the difference, how I'd move on compared to Watare. Like a minute because we don't really have time.
Personally, I feel women take their good time and it breaks them. But also men are breaking, like they break even more than women. But since wanawake pia hataki kujua hiyo, it is something that we also need maybe to talk about, where men also go beyond what we think women go through when it comes to heartbreak. Okay.
Thank you very much, Beatrice and Jude. Thank you for having this particular conversation.